Hi guys, this is Abhinav. In this video, I'm going to explain a simple N8N workflow which you are going to be mastering in 15 minutes. This is an N8N automation workflow. So this workflow is very useful for HR. Literally, you can sell it for $200, $400 just depending on your marketing skills. So I will just basically explain what this workflow exactly says, a very simple logic without going into detailed configurations. Once I have explained the logic, we can dive into the detailed configurations. So this is something called a Gmail trigger. So it just doesn't do anything. It's a Gmail node. It just wait for any new email. But whenever there is a new mail, it will start alarming the workflow, saying that, hey, I got a new email. You have to be alert. So that new email will be sending to a text class where. So text class where I have connected a brain that will be saying, hey, is this email related to a candidate's application form? If it is, then it will be sending to the first branch, which is an apply branch. If it's not, then it will be sending to a second branch. It is something called a do nothing branch. It doesn't, I have connected a do nothing node. So it just doesn't do anything. It's like a 5-star node. So it just eats 5-star and do nothing. But in the first branch, there is something called switch node that will be executing a no branches one after the other. So this is a Jirath branch and this is the first branch. So first initially it will execute a Jirath branch because let's say candidate have given a CV. So that will be uploading to your Google Drive automatically without your intervention. So later that file will be created as shareable link and that will be going to an input one. In the second branch, the file is simply extracted and that's going to an input two. These two inputs are merged, and those merging is managed by a merge node. And the entire input, the data, whatever got from the Google Driving sharing link, that will be given to an AI agent. And this AI agent, we have given a very detailed prompting explaining that, hey, whenever you get a candidate's email or the candidate's application form, you have to analyze so and so, and you have to get a specific detail like his name, last name, here, his experience, and what is his expertise, what he's exactly applying for, and later, we demand that whatever you have extracted, you have to give us in a very structured, specific output format so that we can directly feed into a Google Sheet. So for that, we use something called a structure output parser. So you can see I have given an JSON example saying that the first name must be a string, last name must be a string, so and so, summary, everything. So the OpenAI, which is the brain of this agentic AI agent, so that will analyze and will be giving the output in that structured format. And that structured format, we can feed that into a Google Sheet. Like we can do a manual mapping. Let's say if I got something like a first name is equals to John, we can just map that to a Google Sheet. And last name is equals to Doe, that is mapped, and his email. All these details are mapped into a Google Sheet. Later, after mapping into a Google Sheet, that's later the mail, whatever we got, is marked as read. So after this, the workflow is completed. So once you deploy, like let's say once you make this active, then you just need to sit back and relax. Later, N8N manages the rest. Gmail, in the Gmail trigger, if you see a very detailed, initially I have configured Gmail. It is a fairly simple. You can get an API key and you can configure that. You have to also get a client ID and client secret. So what it does is it will be polling every minute. Here we can adjust from every hour, every day. So it will be seeing every hour. Like let's say if I keep every hour, it will be saying, hey, I got any email. It will be just going and checking the inbox every hour. So like let's say if the message is received, so that will be creating an event. So if there is any attachments, that will be also automatically downloaded. So the next node is called a text classifier. So the whatever the input we got, we will be sending this to the text classifier, which is a JSON.text. And the category in text classifier will be defining a category. So the first category we defined is called apply. And we have to give a description because OpenAI, the brain of the text classifier, will be reading the description and understanding whether it must be sending to that branch or not. So we have given a description saying that it contains a job application, and if you find this is something related to job application, then you have to push into this. You have to give a description like this, and also you have to give a other category. It's called a don't apply. So if it's not a job application, then it's a simply OpenAI will understand. Okay, it's not a job application, so I'll push into this category. Later, after defining descriptions, you have to give a system prompt. It is like some kind of instruction manual. So it will be having saying that please classify the text provided by the user into a following category and use this provided format instructions below. Don't explain and only output the JSON file. So it outputs, like let's say if it's not related to the candidate's application form because HR gets a tons of applications. So that will be pushing into the do nothing branch. So it doesn't have anything, it's just a do nothing node. But if it is related to the candidate's application form, then it will be going to a switch node. In the switch node, it have a zeroth branch and the first branch. You can name the output also, but we can keep it as a zeroth branch and first branch for simplicity. So this one, if attachment 0 is the attachment we have defined, if that exists, then it will be pushing to the zeroth branch. And if the attachment 0 in the first branch also exists, then that will be going to the first branch too. So as this both are true statements, here the attachment exists and here also the attachment exists. So the both the branches will be executed. So after executing the zeroth branch, that will be initially going to the Google Drive. In the Google Drive, it will be downloading or it will be taking the file into the Google Drive. It will be uploading there. And after uploading, you can see this will create a link. So here we will be getting what's the ID of it, and it will be seeing that anyone can access that link. Like we can adjust, right? So we can give only access to specific people, or sometimes we can make a sharing link that can be accessed by anyone. So here we can give a role and give what type of link that is. After that, that will be going to the input one. And now this node basically extracts the file. So we have given what's a file name, which is a binary file name, which is attachment 0. That will be extracted and it will be given to the input 2. So this merge node, what it basically does is like whenever like 2, 3 inputs come from different branches, this node will be merging all the inputs and giving one common input or one common output. Sorry. So that output will be the input of a next node. So that whatever it comes here, it will be going into a prompt message, and you will be able to understand. Okay, this is related to HR, and I have to give the name, last name, and what his role of experience. I have to analyze the entire input or the mail he have sent. And what we demand is the mail, whatever it's been sent, that must be in a very specific format. So that's why we give something called a structured output parser. We define that. So in the structured output parser, we have to give an example saying that, hey, if the candidate have, his first name, last name, email, everything defined, then here is a JSON example. I must get into this specific output only. And this output will be seen by Brain, which is an OpenAI chat model. It will be seeing that and it will be giving the output in that specific format. So after giving the output in that specific format, so we have to do a manual mapping. So this is a Google Sheet node. So I have configured this one also. This is also fairly easy. You just have to go to Google Cloud Console and get your client ID and client secret. So you can configure with it. So this one is I have to choose a document and I have chosen the operation mode, which is append row. Append is something like adding. So this adds a row. And in the documentation or in the document, I have created a Google document which is HR screening N8N lecture, and this is a sheet one. And now I have chosen a mode, something called manual mapping. So whatever the input nodes, input data I will be getting, I just have to manually map from the input data to the first name, last name, all the fields. So here it's been manually mapped. And also I have set something called scoring. So in the scoring, you will be saying what will be the overall score, which is actually analyzed by ChatGPT, and we can just given a proper format here. After that, it will be going to the next node, which is a Gmail node. And this Gmail node, I have kept the operation mark as red. So whatever the mail we will be getting, the message ID, the initial mail we got, that will be marked as read. And this will prevent the workflow to be getting triggered next time because that's already marked as read.